Hey, all my Leo friends, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Terry Hunter. I'm an intuitive astrologer, and I'm here today with your May 2024 monthly horoscope. These horoscopes are based on whole sign Western astrology. So when I'm talking about Leo, I'm talking about Leo rising. This is also applicable to Leo moon, Leo sun. And if you have 3 or more personal planets in the sign of Leo, this video is also applicable for you. And please be aware that when I refer to a day and time, it's going to be based on the Pacific time zone. So please adjust for your location. On the day starting off, the wheel is on Leo rising here, but as we move through the month, the wheel will change. I have no control over that part because this is a transit wheel. So I'm going to verbally tell you the houses as we move forward. But we see starting the beginning of the month, Pluto has stationed and it's going to go retrograde back through Aquarius, which here is your 7th house of professional and intimate contractual partnerships, the house where we feel peace, the house where we foster cooperation and harmony. It also rules civil servants and people who uphold balance, peace, harmony. It represents lawyers and people like that. So you may find you're revisiting some of the more mundane things in your life that have to do with creating a sense of peace for yourself, a sense of harmony, a sense of cooperation, a sense of being seen in your relationship with an even exchange, because Pluto will retrograde all the way back to, I believe it's 27 degrees. I don't have my notes here of Capricorn, and then it will move forward again and it will remain in Aquarius, your 7th house, for the next 20 years. So anywhere there has been imbalance, where there has been a sense of your fears dominating your desires or your ability to move forward, that's going to start being revisited. And Pluto will technically re-enter Capricorn, your 6th house, on September 2nd. It will move direct, if I remember correctly, October 11th. So there'll be quite a bit of energy in the late degrees of your 6th house, offering you an opportunity to release yourself from any mental stresses because you have inadvertently been trying to make money versus following your heart and your desires. We also see at the beginning of the month, this first day of the month, Mars has entered its rulership of Aries. This is in the 9th house of foreign people, foreign places. It's naturally Sagittarius ruled by Jupiter, and the Jupiter Uranus conjunction is playing out for all of us big time, and it has been since the beginning of the year, with the intensity growing as we experience the exact conjunctions in April. And now, as the planets are separating, we are still feeling the energy, but we are feeling it with some sort of illumination, some sort of sense of direction. And I say that because the sense of direction feels like it comes from what I want for my future, for my heart, for what's most important to me. We also see that Mercury is starting to move forward. It was retrograde in April, but it's been hovering in its shadow period around the North Node, again in your 9th house. Really, the North Node is like this ravenous energy of wanting to move my story forward, experience my desires, live the life that I know and I dream that I can. And here we see it at the mercurial degree, 15 degrees, and we see Mercury at 17 degrees, which is the Leo degree. So this whole beginning of the month could start off with a really powerful urge to move your story forward. I also want to point out that we have a long standing, I mean, literally for the next decade, we will see Neptune and Pluto in a sextile. Here we see Mars is part of the conversation, but over the next decade, there will be a complete revolution, an opportunity to be rebirthed from really applying your spiritual dynamics in a very brave way. We will see Neptune enter your 9th house, Leo, in 2025. But here, Mars has been having a summit. How can I stand as a knight of the round table? How can I stand in a transformed version of myself and display my bravery, my courage, and really allow my desires to broaden the ninth house, to expand as I offer myself an opportunity to express that individuality. It's a very powerful energy. We also see that Venus has moved into her rulership in your 10th house of career and of public status. This is the house where we are seeing potentials for you to really step into your, we call it public status because it's whoever lives in our world sees the changes within us. Oftentimes we can refer to it as going from being married to divorced, or from single to married, from not having no children to suddenly becoming, not suddenly, but becoming a parent. It's usually a status change of some kind. And this Uranus Jupiter conjunction, Jupiter's been going through the house of Taurus, your 10th house of career, of ambition, of drive, of in many ways taking authority for your talents and your skills, has been offering you this new belief, a new way of looking. I almost feel like Uranus is sitting here going, look to the future, look to what is possible, not where you've been. And Jupiter is expanding that. And that's been going on for about a year. This Jupiter will move into your 11th house of networks, of friends, of the World Wide Web, again, accentuating your hopes and your dreams. The 11th house is that, represents that in the end of this month. So this is a very powerful time for Leo to take advantage of Venus being in her rulership, Mars being in his rulership, and this very powerful sextile that will continue between Neptune and Pluto. Even as Pluto retrogrades, that is really going to be in play for quite some time. And it is, to me, it is a key that turns a lock. And if I pace myself, and if I spend time really being in the moment, then these two planets will serve me. If I live in fear, I could feel swept away. I could feel drowned by my emotions and by my fears. So it's very powerful energy. Let's go to the new moon on the 7th. This new moon is in Taurus, and it happens at 8:21 Pacific time. We'll see the wheel change here. So this is going to happen for you again in your 10th house. This Taurus is your 10th house, and this is an opportunity to plant the seeds for a new sense of self, a new sense of your ambition, drive to start to really, Taurus by nature is stoic. It is a slow, methodical. It wants to build over time, so it feels a sense of security and a trust of the dependability. Here in your 10th house, you're going to want to build something that you can depend upon, that you trust, that you feel you have utilized your skills in a way that supports the endeavor. And this is going to happen as you really connect with the Venusian energy. As she goes through this house, you being able to plant the seeds in a way that, again, supports a long-term version of what you want. And planting the seeds oftentimes is connecting with your source energy, God, the angels, whatever you want to call it, and setting an intention that in many ways breaks the structure of what you know and what you've experienced and what human structure will tell you can be. Because we see this moon making a very favorable aspect to Saturn. Saturn wants to move, again, wants time, wants discipline, wants consistency. And in Pisces, it's really calling forth sustainability. What are you looking at that is truly sustainable? And when you're looking to your dreams, and you're letting your fears interrupt the sustainability, because what is sustainable is your connection to your source energy. And that connection, which is also loosely sextiling Uranus and Jupiter in your 10th house, is really giving you an opportunity to know with practice, with daily meditation, with daily focus on what you want versus where you've been, on how it feels, feeling that sense of pride and accomplishment, even if you haven't seen it out in the material world, could very much change your public status. And then as these planets move into your 11th house of Gemini, you could really see yourself creating more and more friends, more and more. I want to offer it this way. The 11th house also rules social groups, networks of people who have a common ideal, and they come together to support that ideal. So you may find yourself having greater connections moving forward. I also want to, where's my cursor go? Oops. There it is. I also want to point out that we see here now that Pluto has gone retrograde and it's making a loose trine to Jupiter. And then we see that that is making a sextile. So we have sort of this very favorable sextile to, I'm sorry, I'm talking about to Neptune, not Saturn. Pluto sextiling Neptune. Neptune is at the anaretic degree, which is really the mastering degree. This is at the Leo degree. 29 reduces down to an 11. The 11 represents the master number of thought. And at this moment of this new moon, we see it's at 8 minutes, the opportunity for transformation as I use my connection to my source energy. Jupiter also rules the connection to the angelic realm. So this to me feels very favorable for transformation. And that transformation feels like it is now a point of awareness, a point of, okay, I may not have any control over anything in this moment, but my attitude, but my perception, but my willingness to turn my head towards what I want versus towards what I'm frustrated about. I think this is really powerful. I also want to make note that while not in aspect to the new moon, we see Chiron and Mercury in an exact conjunction. And, I'm always looking at patterns. And here's 21 degrees, 55 minutes, Mercury, 21 degrees, 5 minutes, Chiron. The 5 is hitting me as a number of freedom, a number of choice. And here is a Sagittarian energy. So as I move my mind away from my wound, which is not always easy when it's in the Aries energy, in your house of beliefs, in your house of higher education and of philosophy and ideologies and religion and justice, the judicial system in its higher courts is represented in that 9th house. So this is really powerful when you're aware of your wounds. It doesn't mean you can change them, and it doesn't mean you have to be succumb to them. And utilizing this beautiful, I don't know quite what to call it because it's not a T square, it's not quite a T trine, but we see this beautiful triangle focusing in on the Neptunian energy of connecting with source, connecting with your soul, connecting with your talents and your gifts and your intuitive inner knowing can really bring great things as you plant the seeds in this new moon. All right, so I've talked about that forever. Let's move on. We're going to go to the 15th now, where we see Mercury has moved into Taurus. I'm going to move this back to 12 p.m. And we're back on this is now here represented as your wheel. We see Mercury is at the 0 degree of Taurus. We see Venus is coming into a very close conjunction now with Uranus. They will meet in just a few days. And we see that Jupiter is over here in these late degrees of Taurus, making a beautiful sextile to its co-ruler of Pisces, Neptune. This would be doubly cooperative. Neptune is dreamy and emotional and compassionate and empathetic, and on some level, but yet from a higher, sort of a more lofty perspective, Jupiter is the same way. Jupiter would look at a situation and maybe more likely to see that if you're going through a challenge, it has a benefit for you. And the reason I say that is because in this sextile, as you're walking through this energy of your transformation of ideals and of your literally your public status, it's all happening visibly out in the world. And meaning people are watching this happen. The people around you are aware of your transformation, or you're going through some hurdles that you're about to overcome. That's the way I want to put it. Now, we see that Mars is creeping up on the North Node here, which could bring up some challenges in the way of feeling a little cranky, feeling a little over it, feeling a little like, oh my God, I just want to get where I want to go. And yet at the same time, Mars is in this opposition to the South Node. And that South Node is asking you to really be egoless to your time frame, to your, if we look at the third house naturally ruled by Gemini, it's a house that wants things to happen quickly. Mercury always has things happen quickly. Childhood seems to fly by. So here you could see that you're being tasked to really be brave in your energy versus resentful within your partnerships, within your ability to create cooperation, within your ability to create peace within your own mind. This axis is really a balance between the peace that you look to for others and the peace that you allow for yourself as you recognize that you're just banging around in a human apparatus, and perfection is not an ideal that's really attainable or even desirable. Now we also see, I should have brought this up earlier, Mercury's in a square here to Pluto. And this square could be really inflaming this idea, because when it's in Taurus, Mercury's thoughts are going to be again about your childhood, about how you were raised and the confidence that gave you. It could also inadvertently stoke your insecurities, because Taurus has skills, but sometimes implementing those skills brings a sense of insecurity before the rhythm kicks in, meaning the flow of resources, the flow of money, the flow of clients, the flow of whatever it is that is the exchange that makes you feel that your possessions, your home, your things are all safe and flowy. And I want to offer it this way because Mercury zips around the zodiac very quickly and will, reach this point and have squares with Pluto all over the place. So you'll be asked continually, how are you allowing for transformation and looking to your future in a way that supports what you want versus tears it down? Now, we know the seventh house is traditionally the house of marriage, and we think about marriage between two people who love each other. But this house is much richer than that. So when we layer that it's the house that fosters peace and harmony, as we accentuate our desires for ourselves and we bring that accentuation and enhancement into our relationships, and it becomes very supportive and very exciting and it renews us. So I think that's very powerful to pay attention to. We will see, let's go to the 17th, where we have some real interesting things going on over here. Venus, again, in your house of ambition, career, the public eye. We see Venus, and again, she's in her highest vibration in her rulership, and she's looking to renovate. She's looking to display her genius here. And the Sun and Jupiter are expanding that sense of drive and that sense of desire to move the story forward. We see we're still feeling this conjunction between Mars and the North Node. And while they're not, I wouldn't call this a tight conjunction, it's 7 degrees. This wanting to get past what has held me back is going to start becoming more and more feverish as we get through the month and going into even June a little bit, because this wanting to sort of make the transformation. But I want to offer my Leo friends that the transformation doesn't come because the outside world changes. It actually comes because your perception of the wound flips the script. You start to extract the wisdom of it versus feeling pulled under by it. And that's the huge transformation of your ruling planet. I'm sorry, it's not your ruling planet. Mars is the ruling planet of Aries, and being in this sign, it very much will want to pioneer beyond its initial beliefs and be brave within shifting the philosophies that support a bigger picture. So this is really fabulous. And again, we're seeing beautiful trines now to the sun and Jupiter over here to retrograding Pluto. So change is on the foot. And I want to offer this because as Pluto moves into into Capricorn and breaks up those old structures. And it doesn't mean that the structures aren't all laying somewhere, creating some sort of divine disruption in your life, but it's also offering you an opportunity to rebuild from a point of awareness. And this is the key to the Aquarian age. People are going to start to realize that their thoughts are things, and their thoughts, concentrated, focused thought, starts to draw in the elements and the components that support the experience that you're thinking about. So as you're able to shift your thoughts, not stop your thoughts, but just shift them ever so slightly in the direction you want to go, you're going to be magical, Leo. You really are very magical. All right, let's move a couple days over to the 20th. We see the sun has moved into Gemini. And now we see this really powerful money-making dynamic with Venus and Jupiter in your 10th house. You really could, out of nowhere, it might feel like, start to see expansion, see clients starting to call, see money starting to roll in, see new business. And I want to offer this because with the conjunction with Uranus, it's some renovated way that you've done it. You've innovated, renewed, used technology, done scientific experiments, gone out where no man has gone before. And in that endeavor, it has offered more expansion. And I think that this is really, really powerful. And it's kind of an interesting dynamic because we're seeing these two planets sextiling this very supportive Neptune at 29 degrees. Pisces is a super creative sign. And in the 8th house of transformation, this is where you, Leo, are starting to be able to trust your source energy, your inner divine being, to support whatever challenges you may walk through. They are there to sharpen the tool that is you. So I think this is really powerful. I'm not really going to address this brief moment of the moon making this quincunx here. That's just going to be momentary. But overall, during this time, I think as the sun moves into Gemini, and we're about to see these two planets enter Gemini as well, and Venus is going to, be exact conjunct Jupiter in a day or so. This is really boom for business. Could be very, very, very powerful. Okay. Nothing more on this day. Let's go to the full moon on the 23rd. That's going to happen at 6:53 a.m. Pacific time. And I think this is a really powerful moon because we see it here. We see Venus and Jupiter both at this anaretic degree, making a sextile to Neptune at the anaretic degree. 29 degrees is such a powerful degree for the mastering of thought. But the thought is not about being able to hold steadfast on one thought. It's understanding that the mind is a mechanism. The mind is literally a muscle that has an imprint. So the awareness of the imprint now allows an intention, and the intention is where you start to feel the mastery. We very much feel this full moon making this beautiful exact trine to Pluto here. And this again is in your 7th house of partnerships, of peace and harmony, and how you allow yourself through a cooperative dynamic to express your individuality. This is so powerful. We're seeing, the Chiron is starting to have a dance here with Mars. So this is a kind of a little bit of a moment where you could feel inflamed a bit by your wounds, your issues, not feeling seen in self. This is the transit will always be about the self, the individuality, the uniqueness of the self. And oftentimes with an Aries energy, now we're in Leo, but this is your 9th house, and it's going to, you could inadvertently believe that people see you a little hot, or that they don't see you in a way that really represents who you are, and you could be holding slight resentments about it. This full moon may illuminate how you have an opportunity to shift that, because this moon is in your 5th house of self-expression, pleasure, fun, games, laughter, the child, romance, the sign that rules children in high school when we first start feeling those hormonal rushes. So this full moon is going to illuminate something for you that allows you to birth a new sense of yourself. And this sense of self feels as if there's an audience on the other side that can support and clap, because we've seen so much energy in your 10th house. So this is a really, really powerful full moon. The illuminations don't happen on the day of the moon. I also want to point out that at the time of the full moon, it is making a beautiful sextile to Pluto, and it's making a beautiful trine to Neptune. Neptune is, I mean, it's like almost like a dance here. We see here's the focal point of in your 7th house of partnerships, and this could be professional partnerships that support your creativity because you've trusted your emotional body over your mind. Because we see it, we kind of go like this. The moon pops over here to Neptune. They're cooperative, both very intuitive, emotional, empathetic, creative, dreamy. We come over here to this sextile supporting the transformation. It's at the Venusian degree, the Taurus degree, coming back over here. Just fabulous energy. We're always going to have, some sort of challenge in the chart, but that tension is usually sharpening our mind, giving us an opportunity to really trust the ebb and the flow. If there is a challenge, there is something divine about it. I also want to point out that while we have Neptune and Jupiter and Venus all at 29 degrees, which reduces down to an 11, we have Mercury here at 11 degrees of Taurus. It's not making any real aspects to this moon or the chart, but it is at the 11th degree, and this is the sign of thought in the house of personal history, family history, childhood history. So you could very well have so many epiphanies, ping pongs, things that kind of fire off that end up working for you, rather than feeling a sense of being pulled under or history repeating itself. All right, let's go to the 25th. I'm going to move this back to 12 p.m. We will go to the 25th. And this is where we will see that Venus has moved into Gemini. And later in the day, maybe I should move this down to like 4. I'll move this to 6 p.m. You'll see that Jupiter has moved into Gemini. This is going to be a powerful energy in your 11th house of hopes, dreams, desires, the future, the house of friendships, the house of that rules technology, innovation, things that are more conceptual, really, because they haven't been figured out yet, or they haven't been implemented, but they speak to the changing tides of humanity. The 11th house rules the cosmic collective. It rules large systems like the nervous system. So you're going to experience an opportunity this first month while Venus is traveling through this house, and then Jupiter over the next year until I believe June of 2025, you'll have an opportunity for expansion of your hopes, your dreams, your networks, etc. So this is a really powerful year in that regard. Oh, it's going to be in your 11th house until June 9th of 2025. Now let's just go to the last day of the month. And I'm going to move this back to noon. And here we see that we've got Mercury and Uranus have been having a little dance for the last couple of days. This is Uranus representing genius thought, and Mercury representing analytical thought, process, practicality. So this is a real sort of, I believe, an innovative, genius way of realigning my everyday thoughts so that I can take advantage of the energies that are happening in my 11th house as a Leo rising. And I want to offer this because, your 8th house of transformation, Saturn is going to continue on there until 2026. So it's going to continue to say to you, are you creating dynamics that really support the truth of what you want in the future? Or are you somehow defaulting to some historic story that doesn't serve you? We're going to, I can't accentuate enough that the decade that Neptune and Pluto spend sextiling really offers a change, a soul's vibrational shift that could really, in many ways, and I hate to use the word, but I'm going to elevate your human experience to something that's more aligned to favor and enjoyment and fun and pleasure. Again, having Sagittarius as your 7th house is a rewrite of your beliefs about your talents and your skills, having a new philosophy or ideology about fun and entertainment and things that the human structure has up until now said were frivolous and luxurious. And they really are the reasons why we come to this planet, so that we can express ourselves creatively and artistically in whatever interests us. So that's it for my Leos for May 2024. Again, my name is Terry Hunter. I'm an intuitive astrologer. If you'd like to book an astrology reading or an intuitive reading with me, my information is below in the description. Just email me and I'll send you all the information. And in the meantime, I say in the meantime, I hope you'll come back for your June monthly. And in the meantime, have a wonderful May. Sending lots of love to you. Take care.